through your freedom.
Hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15, your AK-47. We're not going to allow it to be used against our fellow Americans anymore. Hell yes, hell yes, hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15. Hell yes, your AK-47. Hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15.
Oh, hell no!
Hell yes, we're not going to allow it to be used against our fellow Americans anymore.
Welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. It is Monday. It is October 13th. It's a kind of a Friday the 13th bad, Monday the 13th just fine. We're doing great. Welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. Folks, we're going to talk about SHTF, getting prepared, why you need to be prepared, what you need to look out for, what direction we're going, what direction we don't want to go, what direction we're being drugged through, whether we like it or not. All of those things and more require the prepared mind. I hope you've got some questions. Get them down below because we've got Ooman in the moderator's chair, the hot seat, and he will compile, accommodate, sort, and we get all your comments going. But I'm going to do my 30-minute monologue, and we're going to get into the topics, and we try and cover a wide variety of topics as well as, hey, you're going to need these items. So I start with the question, zero or hero? You get to decide. There was a man. He was charged with murder. Is he a zero or a hero? Well, the reason he murdered the person was because a child predator kidnapped his teenage daughter and had her in his vehicle. Now, is he a zero or is he a hero? Well, right. Some guy was going to rape his daughter, underage daughter. Guy was like 61 too. So yeah, he's a hero for rescuing his daughter. And this child predator, pedophile, he should not be allowed to exist on the planet. But there's another twist to this story. This person that many would call a zero, others would call a hero, is also announcing his run for county sheriff. That's right. He said the sheriff failed. The same sheriff's department that arrested him, he is running to take control of because they failed and they allowed these fucking violent child predators out there in public in a lot of places. Florida, not such a big deal. Anyways, zero or hero, think about it. Where are we going to land when it's right in your front yard, when it's in your lap, when it's in our lives, right? It's always easy to sit back and go, that guy is a zero, that guy's a hero. He should have done this, he shouldn't have done that. But when it's you, right? When it's you and it's in your life and it's the people you love and know and the world's going to shit and you've got to be faced with this, right? By the way, sounds like the man who is charged with murder for killing a violent child predator, sounds like he's not in jail if a year later he's running for sheriff. It's going to be that kind of a world. That is my big thought on that. Now, speaking of people being shot, people being killed, zeros and heroes, we have a big problem, folks. We have no bullet. We have no answers. Right? We have no death certificate, no coroner's report, no crime scene was established. It is 100% suspicious. And I'm talking about the Charlie Kirk autopsy. And now it is coming under harsh criticism. And I'm finding it interesting now because, well, Ooman and I have talked for a long time. Well, something happens. They cover it for a few days. They tell us what to believe. And then the story just disappears. Just disappears. But we're seeing things come right back up. It seems like America and maybe the world has got its memory because we're still asking about the Epstein files, even though Congress took off 6 fucking weeks for vacation. And then Congress was like, yeah, we're not going to have a budget. We're going to close down the government. So they've been missing all this fucking time. They get back in there. We're going to start the Epstein shit again. Why isn't Obama being arrested? Why isn't Pelosi, Schumer, the Clintons, why aren't they being arrested? James Comey. Lisa Page, Strzok, right? Peter Strzok. Why aren't they arrested for treason? John Brennan of the CIA, Christopher Wray of the FBI, all of these people, right? Those names are still out there and they're not being forgotten. Israel. Israel is in big trouble politically because people are tired of seeing them do what they're doing. The president flies all the way over there. He's doing his victory lap because he brokered a ceasefire. This is not a peace deal, by the way. They haven't signed a peace deal. Israel hasn't signed a peace deal. Hamas, those types, they haven't signed a peace deal. They've just agreed to stop killing each other and release hostages. Right? People have had enough of Israel, though. They've seen way too many pictures of children and women getting blown up, shot, assassinated, sniped, etc. Seen way too much testimony from IDF soldiers, Israeli Defense Force soldiers, complaining about the problems they're having psychologically for all the shit they've done. Right? We've got the entire world pissed off, and they're not going to just forget about it. Now, they did arrest somebody, I believe, in England for Holocaust denial. So I guess having an opinion is a crime. There's a lot of folks, get this. There are a lot of historical scholars who say the Holocaust never happened. You think that's bad? There are Jewish people who say the Holocaust never happened. Isn't that a shocker? I thought it was 6 million Jews were killed. These experts and witnesses said there were no gas rooms. They weren't baking people in ovens. The showers were showers. They didn't have sealed doors. There's no way you would light off a bunch of Zyklon B gas in a room full of people with a door that wasn't sealed and a window, etc. It's just the whole thing is, it's come under serious, legitimate, intellectual scrutiny, and it's failed. So this playing a victim is failing. We're having an awakening, folks. Don't forget anything. And when this type of stuff happens, when the people rise up too much, right, typically we get a nice false flag slap upside the face. In any event, folks, we've got a lot of answers that we need. Charlie Kirk, Israel, Gaza, Ukraine, Russia, the European Union, South Africa, Venezuela, China, Taiwan, North Korea, South Korea, a lot of stuff going on. And then we do get into politics. Zoran communist fuckstick Mondami running for New York City's mayor. Seems like he has taken $13,000 in illegal donations from out of the country. Illegal donations from other countries. It is a clear violation of law. He needs to, for the sake of the people, New York City and the country, step out, go down to some federal office, come clean, pray they don't deport his stupid ass, and he's done. But, you know, that would be the nice way for this to happen. If I were Trump, I would direct the Department of Justice to arrest him, fine him, and then jail him. Just like Republican George, I think his name was Gallegos, was it not, man? He was a New York Republican politician, got elected, and then, well, he had illegal donations. Whoops-a-daisy. Well, because he was a pain in everyone's ass, kind of like Marge Taylor Greene or Matt Gaetz or Massey, except they are basically clean or they would be removed already. But I think Jorge Gallegos, he was not, right? So they burned his ass. Well, Mondami is an admitted communist, and he lied about that on his paperwork to get into the country, and now he's cheating in elections. He should be arrested. What do you think is going to happen, folks? I don't think, I don't think the governor of New York is going to say anything. I don't think Letitia James, the attorney general, is going to do shit, because I think that she actually stepped down. Did she not, Mr. Uman? Yeah, I saw a headline. I looked for confirmation of it. Maybe someone can find it. She, I believe, stepped down. I need more, unless that was just a fucking fishhook that got me. But she should step down. We're getting crime after crime after crime after crime by these Democrats. In fact, now, Chuck Schumer has called for forceful uprising in response to the Letitia James indictment. That's right, fat ass Letitia has been indicted, and Chuck Schumer is calling for forceful. Forceful means get violent. A call for violence as a response to indicting a Democrat high-level criminal. I think a nice arrest and release of Schumer would scare the ever-loving shit out of him. Or don't release him. Arrest him and leave him to rot for insurrection like the January 6th Patriots did. We have a lot of people that need to be arrested. And Trump is now saying, get this, do something. President Trump is calling out the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, who has done absolutely jack shit. He's calling her out. Do something to take action because the news has been released, right? Nearly 300 FBI agents were at the January 6th federal insurrection, right? If Trump can't get her to arrest them, arrest Schumer, arrest Hillary, arrest Combs, right? Nothing. Pam Bondi is a loser. Do something, Pam, or resign. I would appreciate her resigning. But you know what? If she doesn't resign, you know whose fault this is? It's Trump's. It's Trump's fault because he can fire the bitch for not doing anything. This game of I have the authority, I don't have the authority. I'm going to do this, but I can't do that. It's all bullshit and it's fucking games. It's more kabuki theater crap. It really is. They need to do something. They need to start arresting these people. The same way. Let's see, Trump was arrested. Oh, yeah. Steve Bannon was arrested. Oh, yeah. Peter Navarro was arrested. Roger Stone was arrested. Who else was arrested, folks? All the January 6th protesters were arrested. They had no problem arresting a former president, his aides, his donors, everyone they could, they arrested. Don't tell me that, Trump can't make them arrest or get rid of Bondi and put someone in there that will. I'm tired of the games, folks, but guess what? There's stuff going on behind scenes. And I'm more and more convinced with every passing day that Trump is controlled. He is a puppet on strings. He is a puppet on string dancing to someone else's tune. He likes to talk like he is all for us, but the facts don't lie. The people that need to be arrested, the people that need to be exposed are not being exposed nor arrested. Not even one big fish. We have one indictment, which was a summons for James Comey when he should have been an arrest warrant. That's it. That's all we got. That's all we've got to show. January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, right? We're going into our 10th month here. Unfreaking believable. This is where we're at. What do you think? Right? I mean, this is incredible. We had, under the Biden administration, as we just discussed, years and years of Democrats, especially Merrick Butlick Garland, as Attorney General for Biden, targeted Trump, targeted patriots, targeted supporters of Trump. After years of all that, the absolute alcoholic-induced, dirty-kneed Kamala Harris is out there calling the Letitia James indictment a, quote, full-on frontal attack on the rule of law. when I hear and read what they say, whether it's Obama, who has been opening his fucking soup cooler, I'm surprised he got Michelle's dick out of his mouth enough to say something. Kamala, same story. Hillary Clinton, all of these fucking know-it-all Democrats are calling this retribution, revenge, politicized weaponization of the Department of Justice. If anything, every one of these Democrats, top to bottom, whether they're elected or bureaucrats or appointees, they have gotten the benefit of the doubt, long investigations, the information's all there. I haven't heard much from Q lately, telling us that, well, the arrests are coming tomorrow. This is 25D chess. Haven't heard much from them lately, but we know the information is all there. They have the files. In fact, the Biden administration and his FBI under, Christopher Wray, they had all the files on everybody, all the crimes. Remember when Kash Patel found a room with burn bags full of information? Where's the arrests from that? Where are the arrests for all the information he found? This is why we have shit hitting the fan, because of this type of crap. They targeted the shit out of us, but they scream, it's an attack on the rule of law when we hold them accountable or want to. So I know that she's got to say that for the Democrats, and Trump has to say do something for the Republicans. And then the rest of us just sit there and go, well, who the fuck is in charge? Are we under communism or are we a constitutional republic? Which one is it? Because both of them, right, have a position. If you're a communist, yeah, me, you, we're all the bad guys, right? Well, the country is not communist. It's actually this constitutional republic, which makes the Democrats, the communists, the socialists, and the fascists and anti-fascists, they're all the bad guys. I mean, literally, Trump says the Biden FBI placed 274 agents into the crowd on January 6th. Calls it a scam. Now, Big Marge Taylor Greene, she has highlighted the Antifa presence in the crowd as well as the FBI, and she's called them out. This isn't just a crime against Trump. This isn't just a crime against the January 6ers, who were the example that was made out of patriots to scare us, to silence us, to make us STFU. They arrested all of them, men, women, patriots, veterans, old, young, everybody, black, white, it didn't matter. Everyone got arrested. Well, except for Antifa, Ray Epps, the FBI agents, the guy who built the scaffold with the noose on it, right? Everyone that was not an FBI agent or an Antifa agent. And it's now become very obvious that Antifa are the foot soldiers, the alley bashers for the Democrats. They are the brown shirts, right? And they're pretty much a bunch of limp-wristed, fucking skinny jeans wearing dweebs for muscle. But that's what they got. And that's what they use. And that's what they get away with. Right? This isn't just a crime against January 6ers who were held in prison, and some still, which is disgusting. And there's nothing I can do about it. Nothing you can. None of us. Trump can. U.S. Marshals could. The military could. But he's not doing anything. And I don't fucking get it. He can fly all the way over to Israel to stroke his own boner about a ceasefire hostage release. But he can't take 5 fucking minutes and go, hey, are all the January 6ers out of jail? And if someone says yes, he goes, great. Someone says, no, there's still 3 in there. There's still 5 in there. And say, well, write up the fucking order. I'm going to sign it and we're going to get them the fuck out. Just like that. It's like that. Right? This is a crime against all of America to hold those patriots and to do what they did. It's a crime against every patriot, right? It was violent propaganda. It was lawlessness perpetuated by Nancy Pelosi, the FBI, the deep state, and our foreign enemies in this country. We, me, you, I know we all want arrests. Folks, if we don't get arrests, if we don't remove this shit, if Trump doesn't do some fucking thing to drain the swamp, do you know what's coming for us in 2028? Yeah, we're going to be in big fucking trouble come January 21st in 2029 if there is not some serious shit going down. Right? We need law and order. Law and order is required. That's number one. Right? I did watch and spend some time watching videos of these anti-ICE, who are the same people as Antifa, who are the same people as BLM, who are the same people as pro-Palestine, pro-Hamas. They're all the same fucking losers. They just put on a different t-shirt depending on what they're going to go protest and work against. They're paid. They should all be arrested because they're interfering with, they're assaulting officers. They're all kinds of stuff is going on, and they're getting arrested. Just not all of them. I would like to see them be surrounded 100% and just arrest the entire crowd. But the U.S. attorney, Lindsay Halligan is her name, I believe. She's the one that did the indictment for Comey and apparently checked the wrong box, or someone did. But she's expected to have more charges against Letitia James, John Bolton, Adam Shifty Schiff, Fat Ass Fanny, Lisa Cook, who is the Federal Reserve board member who committed mortgage fraud, and of course, John Brennan of the CIA, right? They're all being investigated now. Look, this is what the government is trying to tell me and you. They're investigating these people, and we're going to have some more charges. It's like, well, where are the charges for everyone we know about? James Comey got a summons. It's not a fucking arrest. Right? Fat ass Fanny, she needs to be arrested. Schiff, Brennan, Cook, all of them. Bolton, Letitia. Right? Letitia, where is it? We've known for months now that she lied. Not a mistake, not a clerical error, not an oversight. We were told, you and I were all told, we were lectured by the Democrats when they arrested Trump, when they arrested Roger Stone, right? When they arrested Peter Navarro. We were told when they arrested and framed General Flynn, we were told no one is above the law. No one's above the law. How many times did we have to fucking hear that one, right? Looks like everyone is above the law if they're a Democrat. Now, about the only good thing that's going on right now is Trump is the government shut down because the Democrats, they're insisting on free health care, free benefits for illegals, free sex change operations, and screwing us all. Isn't it funny how the first thing they do is threaten Social Security? And they threaten all the fucking boomers out there. Your Social Security is going to run out. There's not going to be money for Social Security. But they never fucking say, there's not going to be any money for welfare. There's not going to be any money to give to Israel or Ukraine. We're not going to have any money. They never say that. Why not? Why don't they ever cut all the other programs? There's not going to be any money to hire the IRS agents, the ATF, the Postal Service. It's always no Social Security. And we're going to shut down parks as if that's going to save the fucking country. Well, Trump has now fired 20% of the Department of Education. That's right. 20% of those employees are toast. And those, that's great. That's a good start. 20%, good start. I think the Department of Education should be closed 100% and forever. I do. He needs to fire more of these people, and they're still screaming, folks, that they get back pay for not working. I called my boss today, and I said, hey, look, I'm thinking that you should just, close shop for 6 weeks or so. Okay, thanks, you, man. Close shop for 5 days or whatever, 30 days, 60 days. But when I come back to work, I expect back pay. They fucking laughed at me. They're like, if we are that tight and we have to let you go, we got bad business. It's not like we're that. Because here's the question, is the government really shut down? The answer is no. You know what the evidence is? When you got your paycheck last week or the week before, did they take taxes out? Yes, they did. You bet they did. If you own a business, you were doing payroll and taking out taxes and Social Security, unemployment insurance. You're doing all that shit. Workman's comp. Yeah, the government is not shut down on the federal or any other level. Right? That is just a lie. It's a fucking game. We are in big trouble, folks. Our country is in big, big trouble. What I want to know is what is on your mind, what you are thinking about, what matters to you right now. Are you planning, well with food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense? Have you got all that in order? Do you understand the world around you? And do you fully get what's happening to all of us? How they're continuing to lie and lie. But the propaganda is no longer working, is it? Are you starting now? This is the other part of the exercise. And it's something I noticed with Uman years and years ago, is the more we cover all this shit, every single little subject, every topic, once you have the information and you have facts, sometimes you don't have all the facts, but you have enough to realize you're being lied to. You're being swindled. You're being fucking hoodwinked. Right? And we are starting to see the players. Who is responsible for the lying? Who is benefiting? How are we getting screwed by this? And we're not buying their shit. The propaganda is failing. The propaganda is failing. It is just incredible. Yeah, Queer Starmer can lie to the mainstream media, but you can go right to social media, which will tell you exactly what he's saying, which is the exact opposite. The Israelis, they're like, yes, we have a ceasefire and an exchange of hostages. But then they go and they type in their own language, the Israeli language. Well, you just run it through a translator and it tells you right away. They say, as soon as we get our hostages back, we're going to start attacking them again. Whoops. We're not stupid, but they think they're superior. And if I have to hear any more of this, the fucking Israelis have superior intellect, really? That's a sign of superior intellect, is raping children and fucking blowing children up and blowing people up and killing everyone and fucking blackmailing and extorting people around the world. That's a sign of hyperintelligence? Give me a fucking break. Parasites out there, folks. Either you're producing or you're a parasite. Because nobody rides for free, right? There's no way to get through life without working. You're either parasitically living off of someone else or you're earning your own way. And here we are. You just have to answer the question. All right, Mr. Uman, I tell you what, where are we at? Holy cow, it's that time. It's that time. And it's Columbus Day. That's right. That crazy Italian, he brought us here. Uh-oh. Uman says, did you see the naked protest in San Francisco? No, I believe that was in Portlandia. But it just seems like the appropriate thing for San Francisco. Because when I read the headline, it was like naked protest naked protesters to ride by the ICE headquarters. And I thought, wow, that sounds just like San Francisco. But Uman says it's always the one you would never want to see naked. Uman says they were protesting against Trump changing it back to Columbus Day. The retards had stolen land slogans painted all over themselves. It's conquered land. Noble savage. The noble savage is a myth. we got some stuff to cover here. Number one, let's go back to naked people. Very, very few naked people look good naked. Let's just be honest. We've all got some creases and wrinkles and stretch marks and stuff that's really not where it needs to be anymore. I think once you get past age 25, it's not looking perfect, right? So I'm not picking on anybody, but naked, right? It's not good when wow. So we cover the naked part. Yeah, I don't want to see any of these people naked, especially a cold, foggy Portland day or San Francisco day. Anyways, let's go to your next comment you had there, Mr. Uman. You had some good stuff in there I wanted to address. I think it's important. America is a conquered land. When the Spaniards showed up and went into Mexico and South America, Mexico, Central and South America, they ran into savages. A lot of these savages were doing human sacrifices. A lot of them were good people. And unfortunately, a lot of them died, got diseases, etc., were killed. And yes, the Spaniards took over that area. The English and the French did North America and Canada, where we did the United States of America zone in Canada. And those people were savages. And they were also civilized. They had their culture and traditions. They had their laws, their rules, but they were also murderous. They murdered the shit out of each other all the time. They would conquer one another and steal their land and steal their horses and steal their women, right? They were American natives, right? They're warriors. They're fierce. There's a lot of things you can admire about that if you want, right? You could, the Redskins, the Braves, the Chiefs, all this, right? Kind of like the Vikings and the whatever. You can come up with whoever you want and admire their warrior attitude, but they're warriors and barbarians nonetheless. They all conquered each other. Who was there before the Native Americans that the Europeans found? Well, they conquered the land. They stole it. Who was there before them? They actually have mummies that are 6,000 years old that they found in North America that are European DNA. Whoops. Well, we don't want to talk about that. We want to talk about the noble Indians. Of course, they're noble. But of course, it's all bullshit. Right? It's manufactured. They're just living the way they lived. Right? They didn't have organized religion. They had their own religions, right? But they didn't have the wheel. Right? They didn't have the wheel. That's a big whoops. They weren't building with stone, not really, even though there's stone ruins there. A lot of mysteries about North America, but this whole, it's not Columbus Day. What was the other day they wanted to call it? Indigenous Peoples Day. That is a bunch of crap. When I worked for the Native Americans, folks, I got both sides. I got, well, Europeans suck and Columbus is a motherfucker and we hate him. And fuck all you white people. And then I got, you know what? If it wasn't for Columbus and you white people, we would still be eating animals that we found in the forest that got cooked in a forest fire and eating fucking acorns and living in a fucking bearskin tent teepee, right? They know they've got it good because of European culture, civilization, innovation, inventions, etc. So it's really a matter of perspective. It's really a matter of perspective. Right? Do you think these people in North America, Central America, South America, do you think they would rather live in straw huts? No toilet paper, no toilets, no running water, no electricity, no television, no nothing. So they want all the good things that European success has created, but they don't want the white man around, which is absolutely ridiculous. Because you look at any country, folks, that doesn't have that European heritage and law and order, and what do? They revert to savagery and killing one another. Yeah, conquering each other and stealing their land. That's what's happening in Central and South America with the drug dealers. That's what's happening in Africa, right? You've got corporations down there that are pumping oil, shipping it through a pipeline. So what do the locals do? They break into the pipeline and they steal all the oil they can for themselves. They don't do anything to make the world better, but they live parasitically off of it. And then they complain about, the technology that's made their lives so much better. Enough of this shit. We're going to get stuck back in the Stone Ages, though, if we end up with one of these high-level political assholes that decides we don't deserve to have anything, and they just basically burn it all down. Anyways, interesting topics. What do you want to talk about? Down below in the comment section. That's where you can comment, and we'll get you right up here on the board. And we go to Redneck Roughneck. And he said, why would indigenous people want to share a day with Columbus while all these others get their own special days and even a month? Yeah, boy, if I was, are there any 100% full-blooded Native Americans? You know what? There just might be. And I really hope there are. But for the most part, they're all mixed with Europeans anyways. Spaniards, French, English, Dutch are the predominant ones that took control of Central and South America. Oh, and Portuguese, of course. The Portuguese, oh boy. Bom dia to all our Portuguese friends out there, right? Anyways, yeah, indigenous people get one day and they got to share it with that rascally guy at Columbus. When the blacks get February. The whole month of February is Black History Month. And of course, the joke's on them. They only get 28 days. They get the shortest month. Whereas the homosexuals and the pedophiles, they get a whole month too, right? Pride Month. Because it takes a whole month to celebrate butt fucking someone and getting monkeypox. That's what they get, folks. Yep, nothing like a disgustingly, slovenly, filthy, nude person running around with... Have you seen the pictures of these people? I shouldn't even describe them because it's nasty. In any event, folks, Native Americans. Yeah, you think that they would... this is... I don't think the Native Americans are asking for Indigenous Peoples Day. In fact, it's just a fucking fancy way of saying Native. I always, Native Americans. That makes more sense to me. Indigenous. It makes them sound like they're in a dungeon. Anyways. Has everyone caught, by the way, that the VAXXX study's been released? It's now seeing sunlight. The results are shocking and staggering. The difference between children who were vaxxed and children who were not, and the amount of disease and death and destruction that follows. It's a very inconvenient truth that is being released out there, folks. It's not looking good. Crazy business. What do you guys think of this peace business over there in Gaza? Do you consider it more than just a ceasefire? Do you think peace is going to break out all over the Middle East? Do you think that the Palestinians and Hamas and Hezbollah are going to shut the fuck up? Do you think that the Israelis are going to continue to attack and push into Syria and Lebanon and Jordan? I guess we're going to find out. I tell you. Okay, Mr. Uman, who's next on the Prepared Mind channel? And it's Mr. Diving Frog. And he says, John, how is it Trump is supposedly putting America first when it seems all too evident that he's Israel first? Either he's afraid of them or straight up, he's in bed with them. Now, here's where we get into trouble. A lot of people say Trump is America first. I beg to differ. A lot of people say he's Israel first. I beg to differ. A lot of people say he is converted to Judaism. I'm like, well, what do you have for that? Well, he put the little hat on, right, the kippah, went to the wall and did the humiliation ritual of fucking the wall, where you pump back and forth. Yeah, a lot of people think you're banging your head, but they're also thrusting their hips. What a weird fucking thing, right? Whatever, right? But how do we know the truth? Well, the only way to know the truth is decisions made, actions taken. What has Trump done for America? What has Trump done for Israel? You can read, right? You can read. He's spending more time over there. He's meeting with Netanyahu multiple times, right? He's gotten yet, and it still pisses me off that he pushed in Netanyahu's chair. I'm sure he's shining his fucking shoes. I'm not happy with the whole situation. And I'm certainly not happy with AIPAC and all of our Congress and senators going over there, sucking up, kissing their ass, swearing allegiance, right? It does seem to be all too evident he's Israel first. Is there a way to do Israel first and America second from the American government? No. No, it's actually an abomination. We went from Obama nation to an abomination. I don't think that our Congress people, senators, I don't think the president, I don't think bureaucrats, I don't think anybody, the president's cabinet, can have dual citizenship and serve both countries. You see, if Israel is worth having as an ally, then cooperating with them we'll get a benefit from. That's how it works. We cooperate with China, we get the benefit of cooperating with China. Economic benefit. We cooperate with Europe, we have the benefits of cooperation, financial, economic, etc. What do we get from Israel? See, this is what points to Israel first. We get nothing out of Israel. They're not our greatest ally. They attacked the USS Liberty. They danced the dance of 1,000 fucking figs when the Twin Towers were hit. There is evidence all over the place that Israelis or Jews or whatever you want to call them have infiltrated government, influence unduly our government. This is going to be part of our SHTF that's coming up, right? Because it has now been released, it is now public, it is now out there for everyone to see and find that the Talmud is not the Bible, but the Talmud is what the Zionists practice, read, believe, and act on. They don't read the Torah, they don't read the Old Testament, right? I guess Hasidic Jews do or can, but how do you know? Right? I think everybody who does not swear allegiance to our country and our Constitution should be kicked out. I believe there should not be dual citizenship for people in the government, elected, appointed, serving, or even contracted with. American corporations only, right? I don't want our military carrying Uzis because they're Israeli made. I want our military carrying Remington, Winchester, Colt. See what I'm saying? Right. That's what we should be doing. But that's just me. We should be buying our own goods, manufacturing our own stuff right here in our own country. But we're not. And that's why shit is hit the fan everywhere. Politics, economics, right? Finance, everything fucked up. Military, education, it's all jacked up because of what has happened. And it's not just Israel. They're not the only thing going wrong. You got the World Economic Forum, you have Europe, you have China, you have all of the absolute scumbag communists within our country. What do we do with them? I would like to solve their problems for them, but, I cannot. All right. Just unbelievable. The news that's out there today is just bizarre. It's Columbus Day. It is Columbus Day. But what does everyone actually think about the man running for sheriff after, protecting his daughter and killing her alleged would-be rapist? I think it's a rather interesting thing. All right, Mr. Uman, who's up next on the Prepared Mind channel? It is Columbus Day. I want to thank everyone who's here. Good turnout. Mikey G says, Putin is threatening nukes again. if Trump gives up the Tomahawk cruise missiles. Okay, let's get right into this. Putin has had Putin has had enough of drones being flown into his country, drones that Ukraine has not designed, manufactured, produced, or created. They are weapons given to them by NATO, Europe, and the United States government. So Putin is threatening nukes again. Like he's had enough of this shit. But the Tomahawks, they've been around a long time. Tomahawk missiles, aren't those racist? Oh man, I mean Tomahawk, isn't that yay, right? We're not supposed to do that shit. That's racist. Hey, the Tomahawk missile, right? We'll give them the Tomahawk chop. Gotta love the Tomahawk chop. I love celebrating Native American heritage in our country because we have Native Americans here. Anyways, Tomahawk cruise missiles, they've been around, I think, 40 years or more. When I was a kid, I remember hearing about them. You don't mess with America. They got the Tomahawks, right? And it's a cruise missile, so it's got long distance, can carry a massive fucking payload, including tactical nuclear weapons. Right? They're not huge, but they're definitely tactical and definitely nuclear. And they can also be shot down. The Russians do have a very effective air defense system. I think it's the S-400 system's really good, but still, right? Can they outfit the Tomahawk with countermeasures to defeat that? They could. I think what Putin doesn't want is a Tomahawk delivering a massive payload to a very specific target. It is a big weapon, folks. That is one of the big boys. I don't blame Putin. I blame our government if they give him fucking Tomahawks. If we, the United States of America, were having our cities bombed by Canada, how long do you think it would take for the fucking army to roll up and roll through Canada and take the fucking cities? If they were plunking missiles into Detroit and Chicago, and then they started hitting Pittsburgh and Cincinnati, and then reaching for Kansas City, no one would like that shit. Fucking people would be scared to death. When's it coming next, right? You don't know. We wouldn't put up that shit if China moved their military into Mexico on the border and started bombing LA, San Diego, Phoenix, Dallas, San Antonio, Baton Rouge. No, they wouldn't like that shit at all, right? We would blame China and go bomb China. It wouldn't take much at all. So why should Vladimir Putin tolerate the United States giving nasty, effective weapons that are not being used on the front line of the war, but rather being used to extract a toll on Russia? Right? So in other words, if Zelensky, the little homosexual, isn't fighting for the front line, instead he's trying to hurt Russia on the inside, why can't Russia reach past Zelensky and affect Paris, London, Berlin? See where I'm going? Milan, or name your city, Madrid. But he would probably go after Warsaw, Poland. He'd go after Berlin, Frankfurt, Munich. He would go after London, because these are the biggest fucking loudmouths. England, Germany. And while he's at it, may as well fucking hit Brussels, right? Because that's where the EU is at. The European Union Parliament. Yep. It can happen. We can have a nuclear World War III, folks, in no time at all. No time at all. Very scary business indeed. And speaking of very scary business, has everyone paid attention to what's going on with natural resources? We are in World War III. It's not nuclear. But we're in World War III. It is economic. It is resources. It is social. It is everything but bombs going off everywhere. Definitely a propaganda war. But right now, as of Friday, Trump said, that's it. Right? And he tariffed the shit out of China, who's been tariffing us. We're all tariffing each other now. There's a battle on for strategic minerals, metals. So things like silver, uranium, and rare earths are now on the critical minerals list. The Pentagon is now going out and directly buying these materials to stockpile them for military purposes. And every Tomahawk missile, by the way, has 500 ounces of silver in them. 500 ounces is about 40 pounds of silver. Every one of those that go off, that's a lot of silver. Silver is used everywhere in the military because it is the most reliable and effective conductor. They have the silver batteries, silver circuitry, everything. Right? Rare earths, we need those for electronic magnets. Silver closed at a new high of $50.78, and that would be the silver futures. And gold closed at $41.30, all-time highs. The banks around the world are all struggling. Central banks, major private banks are all trying to get gold because we're going to go to a gold settlement system. That's what's going to happen because it's a neutral asset, right? The US dollar is not neutral. It can be weaponized, and it has been weaponized, right? So they want to go to a settlement system that involves gold, and also now silver is being discussed. Silver is being now hoarded by India and China also. The United States better get off its fucking ass and get it together. And by the way, where is our audit of Fort Knox, the Denver Mint, and of course, West Point, the third storage facility for America's gold? There's also, of course, the Federal Reserve, which is supposed to be holding someone's gold. Yeah, these things hired. That silver price, by the way, is the futures price. The spot price, if you want to buy, say, a ton of silver in your Tesla, you have to go to the LBMA in London, and that price is $2.50 higher. So you're going to pay more for silver now than the future price for silver in December. That's called backwardation, and it means there's a huge problem because they can't get silver. They've basically created paper contracts, kind of like the Federal Reserve creates paper currency. And they produced all these contracts for gold and silver they don't have. Once again, these tricks, these usurious tricks that bad people have played for years and years, even centuries and centuries, debasing currency, ruining its worth, and ruining empires. So now, hopefully before everything crashes in a giant Mad Max fucked up scenario where the whole world grinds to a halt and we go back to, well, donkeys and fucking wooden carts, hopefully they all get it together and we all figure out what we need and we set up our allies and our trading partners. And the system will have to be, I'm going to use this in a very simple sense. It's going to have to become more honest, more transparent, more verifiable. Countries are going to have their money supply audited. How can you trust another company or country if they can't show you who they are? But one default in payment and it's done, right? Just like you and I, we fuck up a payment, our credit goes to shit. No one wants to do business with you ever again. Can't buy a house, can't buy a car. Fuck, you can't even buy groceries. That's where we're going as a world. But we could end up in a very nasty war before then if somebody doesn't like the way everyone else is playing or they feel like they're not getting a fair shot at it. Mr. Uman, let's do another one. Who's out there? It's a Redneck Roughneck. And he says, with them graphite bombs Putin is using, they can take out a power grid and leave electronics in unusable condition. And with the dependence upon China for parts, we could very well be in an 1880s situation. How exactly would we charge them electric tanks? Yeah, I think the electric tank has already gone the way of the dodo, if I'm correct. The weight of of a tank alone makes it completely unviable to have batteries powering it. I mean, how far would they go? 5 fucking miles? So you've got Teslas, they'll do about 300 miles, right? You've got the Ford pickup, which will do maybe 100 miles, the electric pickup. You put a trailer behind it, you're going to go about 25 miles. A fucking tank? Really? Even if they loaded it up with batteries, it's still not going to go very far, very fast. How are you going to charge them out in a war zone? You're going to go to a fucking Tesla charging station? Really? In a war zone where there's no power grid? Again, retards in the planning phase. You cannot have retards fixing everything. And Putin does have his hypersonic missiles, and he has let them rain down on Kiev a few times, showing them exactly what can happen. Again, I think he's really held back on his power. Yeah, we're in trouble because we do rely on Russia for power, nuclear power to be precise, nuclear fuel. We rely on China for a lot of electronic components, a lot of materials. Our serious computer components, though, they come from Taiwan, by the way, which, of course, China wants to annex and reclaim as their own. But we're going to have to become self-sufficient. Every country, to the extent possible, is going to be self-sufficient, which means within every country, including the United States of America, everything is going to get revalued. Everything is going to get a new price, including me and you. And understand this, with artificial intelligence being set up to replace humans to the extent and everywhere possible to save money, there's going to be a lot more of us out of work. Universal basic income is coming. The government's going to decide who is and who isn't necessary. And I can see in the distance, folks, some very, very ugly situations developing, like who deserves to live and who deserves to die. Right? Canada's already got it to where, well, if you've got a disease, they'll just let you kill yourself. The state will help you die. Right? Euthanasia, assisted suicide. And how about vaccinations that kill people? Whoops. That's a convenience when they don't need as many people. I tell you, folks, chance favors the prepared mind. Is yours. Please get prepared. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. Get a plan together. Understand your area and keep learning, because the more you learn with me and all of us, the more their propaganda fails, the more you see through their lies, and the less likely you are to be deceived by these people. And that is what they are. They are liars. They are deceivers. They are evil. And they love death. And they are just fucking satanic bastards at these higher levels. And we are going to have to deal with the negative consequences of it. God bless you all. I'll see you 0 dark 30 tomorrow. And then again tomorrow night. Until then, folks, watch your 6. Get prepared.